Hey guys, welcome back. Today's piece is something a little bit different to what I usually do in my usual style. I'm on a journey of making myself a little bit more of a better artist, so I decided to do a mixed fantasy and gothic horror picture with this alien monster woman, and shock horror, she's bleeding from the neck and the eye. That's a surprise. Yeah, she's definitely got a fantasy feel, as you'll see when she's completed. You know, I didn't want to go away from my gothic tones. Definitely still got gothic tones in it, but it really does have a fantasy feel, which was what I was trying to capture. Yeah, like I've said in my other videos, I've always wanted to you know, work on hair and faces. I'm not great with hair and faces, and this was the best opportunity to work on this and improve this with just doing them. And I also wanted to not fall under the category of doing the same face syndrome. I'm trying to, you know, not suffer from that as well, so references is the key to doing different faces, googling different references every time I do a face. I've always got to make sure that I don't get same face syndrome. Yeah, so people references are important. I decided on a grey theme for this piece, as I want to do a variation of one colour and then have an accent colour, which I go in with, and then it's very eye-popping. It sort of draws your eye to those locations with the accent colour. And I used my cool greys in my Touch 5 marker set because they are my favourite, and there's 7 colours in total. And I chose 2 reds, my 11, which is called Carmine, and my 2, which is a red wine. So I want to go in with the red to make the blood really, really bright, and then I went in with the wine just to sort of give the blood areas a bit of a shaded effect. So applied the colour to the face first, worked my way down. Then I went in with, I went in straight up with the CG5, which is the lightest of the greys, which is actually quite weird. I would have thought CG1 was the lightest, but the way the colour scheme works in the greys is quite weird. Then I went in with the, the CG2 for the shading, as you see now. I've got a tendency to go in and I get a little bit too excited with shading. I tend to just keep going darker and darker and darker and darker until there is just, well, either I can't do anything more with it or I just completely wreck the picture. And I've got to sort of control myself here, so that's a bit of a learning thing at the moment. So these markers too are really great for layering. So usually with the shading I will layer first with the same colour, and then if that doesn't work and I don't like the tone that's given off, I will then go in with a slightly darker marker. I won't go in with too dark, I will just go through the next colour up. And then for the hair tones, I started off with CG5, which is the mid grey range in the cool grey set, and then I went darker from there. I did the majority of the hair with the CG5, and then I did the highlighting on top with the CG1, and then I went in with the CG7 to do selective strands with some darker tones, and then I finished it off with the CG9, which is the darkest in the set. I just did some shading. Yeah, that's pretty much all I did with that. And I did the lips. I did the lips CG7. Yeah, which was a little bit darker than what I would have liked to have gone, but that's all good. It actually worked. It worked in my favour in the end. And then I've gone in, and once again I'm attacking the shaded areas with a darker, I think I used the CG3, I think, on this area. Now I'm going in and doing the red, the blood, which was with the 11 straight up, and doing some splattering just to make it look like, yeah, horror. And then I go in with the darker 2 just to give it some shading, especially in the actual cut itself. And if you don't already know, yeah, the eyes are very, oh, actually, this is a very pointless exercise I do here. This is just ridiculous. I ended up rubbing out this grey pencil. It did not work at all. The effect was horrific. So I ended up rubbing it out anyway. So this was an absolute pointless exercise. And the only thing I kept was the black pencil, which I did a little bit of shading with it, but that was about it. Yeah, it was just ridiculous. And then I'm going in once again with a darker shading, which at this point, that was it. That's all I could do. I couldn't do any more. And then I tried to fix it, which just, yeah, facepalm moment. And as you can see, with the eyes, I like to do soulless eyes. Yeah, I like it. It's just what I gravitate to. I don't do a lot of actual eyes with pupils and irises in it. And now I'm finishing it off with the white gel pen, just giving the highlights to the areas, and I've added spots to her back and the side of her head and her chest just to give her a more fantasy look. Yeah, it was actually a really good touch. It brought the picture together, I reckon, completely, just to say, hey, this is a fantasy piece, you know, mixed with a bit of horror, which I was happy about. And there you have it. There is my gothic alien fantasy piece. Simple, elegant, and horrific all at the same time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.